Denver Broncos. Denver came into the world in 1960 wearing brown and yellow, a color scheme I'm sure their rivals think described them the best in the post-Manning days. With a name coming from a Name the Team contest, Denver would replace those excrement colors with orange in 1962 until ushering their most iconic look in 1968 after featuring no helmet logo the year prior. This is the look that defined the Denver Broncos all the way up until a controversial redesign in 1997. This, funny enough, was done by Nike and was the first example of the uniform maker putting in their input. Needless to say, seeing navy replace not just the royal blue but also the orange ushered in the Broncos' very own dark gritty reboot, which was successful in its first 2 seasons, seeing them win back-to-back Super Bowls. This would of course remain until this year, where Nike redesigned their first redesign, and I'll come out and say it, I'm not a fan. Yeah, after the Bowman estate sold the Broncos, a uniform change was inevitable, but that's no excuse, and Denver is far from the only team to have this happen after an ownership change. It's very fitting that the day this design was released, the Broncos traded for Zach Wilson. 2 L's in one day, that's impressive. While yeah, the previous design was showing its age, was this seriously the best that Nike could do? The orange home and white road are so bland. Okay, I dig the sleeve stripes representing mountains. That's kind of cool. But no shoulder numbers? Why? And oh god, the orange pants with the white road. You know, at least when Cleveland does that, it works because they've got orange helmets, whereas yours looks like the result of a random uniform generator. It was as if Nike was playing Madden and decided to base a uniform around a Madden relocation uniform. If this was a college team like UTSA, maybe I cut them some slack, but college standards don't translate to success in the pros. I wouldn't even use this for a Blue Mountain State reboot. Both are paired with a matte navy helmet, which looks awful. If they kept the stripe in the middle, I'd be fine, but they migrated it to the back for some bizarre reason. Seeing this helmet makes me wish they switched back to royal blue, because seeing the dark matte navy along with the orange is jarring. If they kept the orange stripe down the middle from their previous design, I wouldn't be complaining about this, because at least there's orange going from the helmet to the jersey besides the logo's mane. The navy alternate suffers from the same problems as the other two, except this one is paired with a white helmet. All I can say that is putting me in mind of the Seattle Dragons, and that wasn't any better than this. Speaking of Seattle, I imagine they went with a white helmet for this because it looked too much like the Seahawks if this was paired with a regular helmet. The only bright side to their new uniform set this year is their throwbacks to their classic orange, bringing back the days of Elway. This actually looks like a completed uniform because it is. Many are speculating that the Broncos will change to these after the required 5 seasons are up if fans continue to hate the new main unis, and honestly they should have just gone with these instead. The helmet logo still looks phenomenal, and they also updated the uniform so the TV numbers are on the shoulders instead of the sleeves. Why didn't they go with this? I don't know, too easy to wow fans? Wanting to keep the 1997 logo? But there's one thing that makes this fall flat on its face. The 1997 redesign was meant as the dark gritty reboot of the Broncos. However, once the Nike era started, Denver swapped the orange and navy jerseys around so that orange was the main, defeating the purpose of this rendition being a dark gritty reboot. And for this new redesign, the Broncos and Nike have doubled down on this philosophy. Basically, the Broncos are the DC extended universe. So overall, the Broncos need another redesign, and sadly it'll be a while for these unis. Maybe Bo Nix does some good in them? We'll have to wait and see. Tomorrow we travel to Vegas to examine the Las Vegas Raiders.